All righty, folks. Good evening. Welcome to this newest edition of Roundabout Sports presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession. It is Wednesday, June 11th, making our debut here at the 6:30 time slot. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp alongside the fabulous Babs herself. How you doing,
Hi
Babs?
guys. What's up, Jeremy? How are you? How are things?
I I am doing pretty darn good. It's been a very busy, crazy past week between getting engaged, turning 30, and a whole bunch of other fun
Yeah,
events.
congratulations. Yay!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I,
Yes, and a
I am
happy birthday
excited.
as well. I'm sure that just made everything just that much more special.
Yeah, it really, everything was just the icing on top of the cake. So first thing I want to talk about before we get started and do our usual spiel is the reports are out that the Missouri House has approved stadium funds. So the Missouri legislators completed its approval of a stadium funding bill for the Chiefs and Royals to stay in Kansas City. And you know, this is coming a week after the state Senate approved a measure that would allow the teams to bond against their state tax payments. The House voted by a 90 to 58 count to send the bill to the governor of Missouri. Signatures expected soon because um, Governor Mike Cahoe, I think that's how, I forget how to pronounce his last name, has led the big effort to keep both of these teams in Kansas City, as opposed to them moving across, shouldn't really say across the river, but just across the state to Kansas. So
Which, in honesty, is the
this
is the
was,
correct. It's the correct move, I think.
oh, it's absolutely the right move. It's a big move. I'm excited. I think we talk about we have been on the bad end of losing a sports team due to a stadium issue. And what people need to understand is yeah, it's a money game, and the Chiefs and Royals bring in a giant ass amount of money for the state of Missouri, so why wouldn't you want to fight hard for that?
And not just that, fans weren't happy that they were trying to move across the state anyways. And I believe that they voted no on most of the stadium funds and building new stadiums over on the Kansas side. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, they
Kansas City gets
definitely.
what they want, and fans are happy that they're staying and that they're not going to Kansas, because the place that they were going to have the stadium was in the middle of you know city, and there's nowhere to park, and they have their own parking out where they're at now, and they almost got a natural new stadium because a tornado actually hit in their parking lot last weekend. um, so yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
kind of,
is true, actually. I
yeah, it really is. So
didn't even think about that for a second.
mhm,
Tornadoes have been just sweeping through Missouri. I tell you, good
I
lord.
know. I think that they said that there's been at least 30 in the last, I think, 15 days. I think that's what they've said.
Oh
It's been
my
crazy.
gosh. It really much has been. And, um, Missouri Representative Kerry Ingle said, quote, "This is a zero-sum game. If we lose the teams, the revenue we're worried about no longer exists. The fact that we'd be willing to forego that, I know we're smarter than this." And I love this. This is something, I know we're a very conservative state politically, unfortunately for me, in my opinion. But, point being, I love what she says here. We're no longer flyover country. I love that. I don't want Missouri to just be a passing state, a state that nobody gives a damn about. You know, Granted, there's a few things they can do to fix that situation, but this is a good start
Yeah.
in this regard.
Well,
So
and that leaves fans excited, and it leaves fans, to be able to come here and have a reason. And I feel like, they used to come here for the Rams and watch, well, not only the Rams, but any team that they have and that they're not able to see a lot. And whenever they're in town, that also brings people here too.
exactly. So it's exciting for me.
It's
It's
very
exciting
exciting.
for a lot of us. So before we continue on, I do got to do our shameless plugs here because why the hell not? Where would we be without them? You can find Roundabout Sports on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, and anywhere else you stream your podcasts. Be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook, X, and YouTube. And Roundabout Sports is also on Facebook as well. Now, with all that said, Babs, you have a plug of your own that you want to do. And I will be happy
I
to pull up the
do.
graphic when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up and we'll just have it up there while I'm speaking. Um, The Interstate 70 Sports Media has teamed up with a Boys Dream hobby shop in Caledonia, Missouri. They are doing a autograph signing on the 22nd with Jason Esringhausen and Andy Bennis on the 22nd. And I hope you guys come out and see us because I'll be down there I probably won't be doing a live, but I'll be down there answering questions and I'll be down there saying hi and shaking hands. And I'll leave some links on the social media. They're trying to get to 10,000 followers, so hopefully we can get them pushed there for them. So I hope to see you guys out there, and there'll be more information on the socials for you. And there'll be a video tomorrow posted for it as well.
I'm absolutely excited for that one. I mean, it's always, and look, like you said, for those that are tuning into the audio or video audio one of our show, I mean, like Bab said, you got names like Izzy, Andy Bennis, David Freeze, Alan Craig, Scott Rowland, Brett Hall, Lance
And
Lynn, Vince
they've
Coleman,
recently
Chris
they've
Carpenter.
had other people in there like I think they just had Mike Matheny in there just the other day, and gosh, who else? Pretty much anybody you can think of. I think they've had Tank in there a few times while he was in town. Just it's a very, very good place. And the owners and my friend Justin that works there, he is a top-notch guy. And even if you don't go to the signing, just go into the store and check it out. It's really cool, and they've got a lot of awesome stuff in there. So that's it's like I said, I'll put some stuff on the socials for everybody so they'll have that too.
Okay, I'm absolutely looking forward to that one. And I'm extremely grateful to have this partnership in place. It is a huge
Yeah, me too. And it's really
pleasure
exciting,
of
and
mine.
I'm very thankful to Justin for reaching out and making this possible for us. So that's really awesome of him. So
Yes, and keep in mind, Justin reached out to us. So this is a great chance for all of you to do the same. If you want to advertise with us, you can either get in contact with Babs or send a DM to our marketing director and head of advertising and co-partner in Interstate 70 Sports Media,
or
Jerry
heck,
Cannon,
if you
for
guys
more
just happen to
details.
see me out and you're like, hey, I hear you guys are doing what you're doing and you want to be a part of it, just poke me and I'll definitely get the information to you guys.
Exactly. So moving along now, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it later on in the show, but right now I want to talk about, I did not have the Cardinals taking 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers on
Me
my
either.
bingo card.
And
I
and and
also
neither
did
did
not
Dodgers
have them getting
fans.
swept. Right. I also did not have them getting swept by the Blue Jays on my bingo card either.
No, but I'll take, winning two over against the Dodgers over getting swept by the Blue Jays any day. Just because.
Well, and here's my thing. Like the Blue Jays have won 6 of their last 7 games. And this should not have been as this should not have been how it turned out this series. This was, and a part of it does go to Ryan Helsley, because even though he is one of the league's top closers still, after all, Helsley started 13 for 15 on save attempts, but he's blown his last 3 save attempts. Now, he in those 3 save attempts, he's allowed 6 hits and 3 earned runs in 3 innings. My opinion, I still think he is the Cardinals' best trade chip, because he's got a 3.7 ERA or 3.75 ERA, 28 strikeouts, and still 13 saves. Every contender could use a Ryan Helsley right about now if they struggle in the closing department. And the Cardinals right now are 36 and 31, I believe. And I'm sorry, 36 and 32 after today's loss. So 36 and 32. If they still stay on a pretty successful pace that they're at, this is just the 3rd time they've been swept all year. And
which is shocking to me itself.
Right. So I see them still potentially as buyers in all of this, as opposed to sellers at the trade deadline. Babs, what do you think?
I do too. I see them being buyers for sure, because especially now that they're having a overwhelming. Well, I guess that's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Overachieving. There we go. Overachieving season, because I don't think anybody expected this from the Cardinals.
No, I don't really think so.
It was fun to watch Dodgers fans just lose their mind, though. They're like, "How is this happening?"
Oh, absolutely! I loved that you had Arenado come in on Saturday to pinch hit, and what does he do? He walks it off. It was poetic. Crowd on their feet, everyone screaming for Arenado, and then just like that, walks it off for the Cardinals to get that winner. Now, I also another reason I think the Cardinals can still be buyers, because, okay, I'm excluding the Pirates in all of this, because they're 14.5 back. But the Reds are 35 and 33. The Brewers are 36 and 32, as are the Cardinals. Cubs are 41 and 26. Right now, the Cardinals' main thing is they are better at home than they are on the road. They're 22 and 13 at home, or 22 and 14, and 14 and 18 on the road. If I'm the Cardinals, I have to keep pace with the Cubs as best as possible, and try to widen that gap between the Cardinals and the Brewers. So, I think having a buyer would be perfect. Being a buyer at the deadline would be perfect.
No, I do too. And I don't honestly see them trading anybody like that big this season, just because it's Mo's last year. And if they trade a big piece like that away, that won't end very well for Mo at all. And honestly, I don't think he's trying to make fans any more upset than they already are on his way out. Honestly, I don't.
Well, now here's my thing. You look at the Cardinals. I look at the team. Now, Ryan Helsley, to me, might be the only piece that could become a free agent at the end of that could be traded, because he is scheduled to be a free agent. And Spot Track has him projected to make $81 million on a contract by a team that would sign him. Cardinals ain't going to pay $81 million to a reliever. It doesn't matter who it is. That is not in their ball game, especially when they're trying to cut down payroll. So if you have the mindset that you're not going to re-sign him, even though Helsley's open to an extension, you would trade him, get what you can, because it's better than nothing.
Oh, I totally agree about that. I guess I didn't realize he was a free agent this year because that's really a game changer in the whole process, really. I mean, it would be different if he wasn't willing to have an extension, but I would try to work that out first
Yeah,
because
and
it's like you just I don't know. Maybe it's just the baseball business part of me that is just like I want to keep everybody, but at the same time I know you can't. But it just bring up the offer because if I know they're going to lowball him, I know they will, and I know that he'll probably say no. But it's the least just nice to have an offer out there because you never know.
yeah,
Now if he were to be extended, that would be different too, though.
right. That is true. Now, another reason I would say why they would be buyers is because this would improve the pitching.
Hmm.
The bullpen is ranked 29th in all of baseball in most cumulative stats. John King is not good. Jojo Romero is trying to find himself. Um, Helsley, like I said, had a good start to the year, but he's been struggling the past few outings. And I'm sorry. Miles Michaelis in the rotation must have done some voodoo magic on us to make us think that he's really good because it has been bad. It has been a bad year for uh for Michaelis. Um,
Well, the hype
you
for
know,
him, just like in itself, in general, was kind of just outrageous. I thought because I was like, I've never heard of him before because he came from Japan, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and there was
Now,
just a lot of
yeah.
hype for him at the beginning too.
Now, this is another thing. I think another reason you should buy. Granted, okay. When we were doing a Q&A, when Scott Plaza and I were doing a Q&A with John Mozeliak, a kid there asked him basically what his biggest regret was as far as moves made and whatnot. And he said the Marcelo Zuna trade. That's what Mo said. And I get a kick out of it because he even admitted like people wanted a bigger, another added power bat to the lineup, which was true. Didn't pan out, but that's what they wanted.
No, no,
Now,
it did not.
right now, it is a very left-handed heavy lineup. Um, and I love the old school contact style that this team has. The guys in the lineup for the Cardinals are great at getting on base. And then you got a couple guys that are just really good at hitting for power. I think, namely, perfect example, Ivan Herrera.
Hmm.
Herrera is a perfect example. Also, Brendan Donovan. But even Donovan, you know, he's only hit 4 home runs and 24 RBIs. Um, to me, I think Contreras and Herrera are the power guys. Arenado and Walker have their moments. Walker's is on the IL now though, so that hurts. Um, so and on top of it, that's another right-handed bat that's out. Um, so our dear friend Jimmy Harris
Hi,
tuning in. It
Jimmy.
was great hearing from him at the Wrestle Talk podcast last night when I was alongside Kim Chi and the Wild Child. So it was a pleasure.
Oh, how did that go?
Um, that was a fantastic show.
That's
I
awesome.
asked. I'm gonna tell you one question that I asked Luke, um, John, and Nikki. I asked them because when you got 3 Hall of Famers in one room, you get the chance to ask so many different types of questions. Well, I asked them. I said, "What have you done, or what would you do if somebody tells you that professional wrestling's fake?" And let me tell you, folks, just go back and listen to that show. There were some good answers from that. There were some
I'm
really good
sure there
ones.
was.
I had fun. I had fun with it.
I'm
Because you know how
sure.
much I
That's
love
great.
wrestling, and I understand how legitimately painful it can be. So, and how brutal training for it is and everything. So, yeah.
So what's the
I was
answer?
like, so what do you?
What do you tell them?
Well, Luke basically said, go do it.
I mean, yeah.
Luke told them, said that he would tell them to go do it, whatever the case may be. But but
I
that, like I said,
the I have the funniest story. I thought that I was going to be, WWE Divas champion one day. And I was all,
oh boy.
yeah, I'm going to do this and blah, blah, blah. So, I went to a show and they were like, here, go try. Yeah, no, I lasted 5 minutes and I was like, yeah, I belong on the other side of the ring.
You belong exactly.
Yeah.
You belong behind the scenes with me.
Yeah.
That's where you
Yeah.
belong.
I'll be your hype girl. You just go do
Exactly.
your
You be the hype
you
hero.
go do you.
Oh
Yeah, it's a
man.
lot harder than it
Well,
looks. I'm just saying.
well, here's my question for you in regards to the Cardinals. You know, I say they should buy to boost the lineup and and definitely help with pitching. So here is my question now. And Jimmy says check, make sure they get health insurance. Um,
Well, why
my
would you want
question
to
for
do
you is,
that?
I mean, yeah, literally. Who would you go out and get? Like, is there anybody even viable enough for the Cardinals to go out there and try to trade for?
I mean, I honestly don't think so. And I honestly don't think, as sad as this is going to sound, I don't see them making pretty much any moves whatsoever this trade deadline season. If they do, it'll be for minor league guys just to shuffle up their minor leagues. I don't think it'll be anybody. I don't think it'll be anybody on the big team anyways. I
Yeah,
honestly
I
don't. I
mean,
don't see them making any moves whatsoever. And
you
it's
know
like
what's
I said,
interesting though?
what's that?
I was just gonna say that, you know, oh, give me 1 second. Um, the Yankees, and interestingly enough, they have apparently their eyes set on Brendan Donovan. Now, I don't think that Brendan Donovan's going anywhere. I think he's a long-term piece for the Cardinals. But the fact of the matter that the Yankees of all teams would be interested, it's kind of amazing to me.
They have Goldie already. They just need to stay there and mind their own business.
Oh yeah, totally. That's what the Cardinal or that's what the Yankees need to do. And they had
I
Matt
mean,
Carpenter before he came back.
hey, Carpenter did really
So
well for them too. I can't even be mad at it. He kind of came out of nowhere from it.
yeah. Bums me out though that he
I
left.
know. Uh,
Um oh, hang on
well,
one second.
didn't we
Okay,
get
we're good
somebody
now.
else from the Yankees that one time? Who was that pitcher we got from the Yankees? Like, I want to say I'm like 18. What was his name? I don't think he panned out very well either. And the Yankees fans were even kind of like, how the heck did we get people to actually trade for him? I can't remember what his
Well, I
name was.
mean, they got Gallegos.
Oh, yeah.
But they got Chase and Shreve and Gallegos because they traded Luke Voigt to the Yankees.
Oh, right,
And
right.
you know what's fun? Wait, hang on. Then Harrison Bader was traded to the Yankees, and Luke Weaver became a Yankee after he became a free agent from the Cardinals. So they're all over the place.
Gosh, Luke Weaver. Is
Cardinals,
he even
Yankees got
playing
their
ball
shit.
anymore?
Wait, who? Luke Weaver?
Yeah, I don't think he plays anymore. Hi, Jeremy. Long time no see. How are
Yeah.
you?
Oh, here we go. We got the good doctor in the house. And folks, I want to, this is a good chance since he's on here and he's been all over doing book signings. He's working his butt off like crazy. I have a pleasure of reading For the Love of the Show 2, more stories from pro wrestling fans by, of course, the good doctor himself, Dr. Jeremy Houseright. Love the
Oh,
book.
you have
The
a second
sequel
book now too?
is, this is his second book. The first one was such a
Oh,
success and there was so much. He wrote a second one. He has been doing so many book signings. He has been booked on countless number of shows, and it is such a fantastic read. I cannot recommend it enough, folks. Like
well,
whether he does a
congratulations,
third remains to
Jeremy.
be seen. Now I want to kind of play this ploy that he says of Newbar going to the Royals. Now that would be interesting. Because the Royals could definitely use that boost in their lineup.
They just
Right
need people,
now,
period.
yeah, but my thing is, I look at the Royals. For me right now, I'd be worried about their pitching. The pitching is the biggest concern for Kansas City because Cole Reagan just went on the IL with a rotator cuff strain. And they are, I will say, I've heard rumors that the Royals are interested in trading for pitcher Mitch Keller, who is currently on the Pirates. My thing of it is, though, is I don't think he would be after he just signed a 5-year, $77 million extension with Pittsburgh. Lars Nootbaar is an interesting character this season. I think the whole team, for the most part, is what's the word? We said overachieving. Nootbaar's having a really good year as well. Average could be higher. It's a 237, but he's hit 8 home runs, got 28 RBIs, and if you want to do the OPS thing, because that's all people really want to do these days, it's at 721, which isn't terrible. And he's a valuable asset to me in the outfield. So, and I like what the good doctor says here. It is true. The Royals have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. The problem is just keeping them healthy. You keep them healthy, they're set. Now, if it wasn't for the Tigers going on this miraculous run that they've somehow pulled out of their asses, Kansas City would very well be in first or second place in their division. I love the young lineup that the Royals have, though, with Witt and Cads and Salvi. That to me is just a great trio right there. Vinny Pasquantino to me is also one of my favorites. For
How many
the
more
Royals,
years does Selvey have on his contract? Did he just he got an extension recently, right?
Yeah, so he's got a 4-year. Well, the deal runs through this year. There's a club option for 2026. It's a $13.5 million club option or a $2 million buyout. But he signed a 4-year, $82 million extension back in 2021. My thing is, and I'm curious to see what the good doctor's thoughts on this will be. I don't know if it'll be his swan song just yet. I don't think it is. I will say, look, if I'm the Royals, if he performs like he did last year when he hit 271 and started 90 times behind the plate, plus 44 extra games as a pinch hitter, absolutely, I would pick up that club option. Unfortunately, he had an
Well,
OPS of 714 in 2023, which was below league average, and the Royals may want to buy him out on that. Now, he says
Well,
it's time to move Salvi.
I was gonna
The
say
good doctor.
it should. I was gonna ask Jeremy if who they've got in their farm system that's even remotely ready to replace Salvi. Is anybody ready yet?
Well, this is my thing, and I want to have the good doctor on the show again soon so we could talk about this with all of us. They got three main uh, minor league catcher prospects. So you got Blake Mitchell, who's a 20-year-old who's injured at the moment, and Ramon Ramirez, who's also 20 years old, is not projected to make the big league roster till 2028. Now, that in lies Carter Jensen, who is 21 years old. And, there is rumblings of him possibly making the team next year, making the 25-man roster, or 26. Right now in 2025 in the minor leagues, he is hitting 286 with 4 home runs and 30 RBIs. And I got a good one for you. He's in Double-A, Northwest Arkansas. But what I love is he's even got 5 stolen bases. And yeah, this is another thing that is true. Salvi is starting to kind of do that Contreras route, where Contreras is no longer really the catcher, and they moved him to first base. Salvi has been moved as well. Now, excuse me, to first base. And I think if I remember correctly, I think Freddie Fermin is one of the guys that the Royals have given a lot of spots at catcher. I know he's hit 255 this year with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. And he's only 30 years old, good if I can, what's the word I'm looking for? A bridge. He's a good bridge catcher. And right now he has played in 38 games this year. So, and yeah, he's confirmed, yes, that Furman's the main catcher now. So, which is something I kind of figured.
Is he the long-term option for that, or?
I don't see it. Maybe Jeremy does. I don't personally see Furman being the long-term option. I think he's just a good short-term option until, personally, I think, one of the until Carter Jensen is ready. To me, he's the guy that's going to make it out of the 3. Not saying none of the others will ever make it, but I think Carter Jensen, and because he's from Kansas City too, that's kind of a nice little hometown bonus, kind of get a little bit of a kick out of it. And he even, and the good doctor says himself, quote, I don't think he's a long-term option this year and maybe next year, which fair enough. What's interesting is as far as Salvador Perez's, as far as this season goes, because, a lot of people talk. You also got to look at catchers, or not catchers, contracts. I'm sorry, because, if right now Bobby Witt Jr. and Cole Reagans are the only stars that are inked long term. Once again, you got guys like Michael Massey, Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Jonathan India, guys that you would want to quite possibly extend. Now, Seth Lugo, who can opt out after the season, Kyle Wright, Lucas Urseg, Hunter Harvey. There's a lot of players that the Royals have to evaluate. and I get it that that Salvador Perez is a legend, a great, he's a future Hall of Famer. But it is true. He's not bringing anything to the catcher position right now. He is 35 years old, and he just turned 35 in May. So I can see them. And Lugo might get I think he will get a long-term deal as well. But I think they might move on from Salvi. I would keep him maybe on a couple not minor league, but a couple 1-year deals, like minimum deals. But at the end of the day, I agree. Salvi was one of the greatest Royals next to George Brett.
That leaves the question, what happens to Salvi if he does get moved? I mean, does he go to the front office, or because I don't see him doing anything else with another team? I think he's kind of the Yachty of the Royals, so to speak.
Yeah, I could see him just, I don't know, do some sort of coaching or just spend some time away,
or something.
I don't see him going to another team. I think if he does, he may go 1 year with another team and then retire, but it just wouldn't be 35 people. I don't think everybody realizes 35 years old as a catcher, and even if he doesn't really play catcher this year, the fact that all these other years he has, that wears you down. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body, especially on the knees. That is why the Cardinals did this pivot. I give the Cardinals a lot of criticism, but I will praise the hell out of the move to put Contreras at first. Yeah, letting Goldie go sucked, but he was getting older. And you have Contreras, who's hitting very well this year, and he's not wearing himself down at catcher. Meanwhile, you got Herrera, who's hitting great and is catching really well. And Pages is also getting reps in at catcher on top of it. So it's a great maneuver for St. Louis to have done this. And I mean, obviously, Furman is the short-term solution for Kansas City. He's not going to be the long-term star, but you take who you can get, while you can.
Right.
The Royals have a good slew of guys that they can develop, build up, and like I said, I want to go to the standings here of the AL Central. This is what blows my mind. The Royals are at 34 and 33. Not bad at all. They're 19 and 14 at home. They are 9.5 games back, and they're in fourth place. Because the Guardians are 34 and 32, the Twins are 35 and 31, and then you got the Tigers somehow at 44 and 24. I don't know how Detroit went on this just big-time tear. But to me, if this was any other year and the Royals were playing like they are, like they're in wild card contention. And in a way, they still are. But you have to take a look at the other teams as well. Like, there's a lot of season left to be played. Right now, the only team that's doing what? Let's see. Ooh, okay. The good doctor Jeremy Housewright says Detroit will be in the World Series. I did not have that on my bingo card. I haven't had a lot on my bingo card. I never win at bingo. So I did not have the thought of Detroit being in the World Series in 2025. Given the past few years of how bad they've done, that's a hot take. And
I'd be totally okay with that because they've never been to the World Series other than 06?
No, they've had a few World Series appearances and they've had victories as well. They haven't won the World Series since 1984. It's a difference. So they've won 11 pennants. And the last one they won was 2012. And then 2006
Okay.
and then 1984.
Okay.
Keep in mind So the Tigers have won 3 World Series, 4, I'm sorry, but it has been a hot minute. Now, Jeremy also says Detroit and the Mets are his picks for the World Series. Okay, that is an interesting one. Oh, man.
At least it's the good New York team.
I saw something that was shared to me by one of my counterparts at I-70. He said somebody put a $20 bet on the Rockies winning the World Series, and the payout is $99,000. And Andy Heckroth from I-70 responded, well, he just lost money he could use for a Netflix subscription. Thought it was golden. I look at the World Series odds right now. I know we're kind of going all over the place, but it's fun to do these quick segues. We're looking at the World Series odds right now. So believe it or not, the top teams, the top 6 teams, there are only 2 AL teams predicted to win the World Series in the top 6 as far as good odds go. Dodgers are at first place at 240. Yankees at plus 500, Mets at plus 800, Tigers at plus 850, the Phillies at plus 1200, and God forbid the Cubs at plus 1300. Now, if you really want to go down at plus 50,000, the Colorado Rockies. I guess it begs the question, where do the Cardinals stand? The Cardinals are at plus 6,000, but I'm telling you right now, the Cardinals are not making the World Series.
I mean, at least they're not 50,000. I mean, at least the guy will get paid more than what the odds are.
Unless they go on okay, let me take it back. Unless the Cardinals go on a big run in the second half of the season, I just don't see it. But my thing is, if the Cardinals don't make the World Series this year, I will feel different than I will other years, because other years I would expect it. I did not have high expectations coming into this year. So to see this type of contention, I predicted them to go 88-74, I think, with the wild card berth. If I remember correctly on our preview show with John, Andy, and Ryan, I predicted they would go 88-74 and get a wild card berth. Which, fair enough. I wouldn't think that's that bad. But, yeah, World Series, you all have fun with that. So, moving on now. Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is episode 134 of Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Carp, along with the fabulous Babs herself. We are at the 45-minute mark. And you know what's interesting is I hate talking about St. Louis heartbreak, but damn it all, St. Louis finds a way to give it to me. So last Sunday, I went to the Battlehawks game in the XFL Conference Championship. And it was my fiance's first Battlehawks game, and it was my 15-month-old's first Battlehawks game. And a lot of my friends brought their little ones as well. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. For the second straight year in a row, the Battlehawks lost the XFL Conference title game. This time they lost to the DC Defenders 36-18. They had the top-rated defense in the league, but guess what? It didn't matter. Because guess what? The Defenders' running backs combined for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns. 7 of 11 on third downs. And you know what? This is the funny thing. The Battlehawks were able to stop the Defenders deep in their territory. And then right after that, what happens? What happened? They turned it over again. And Jared says, boo, Carp, haven't said that this year. Yeah, that's true, you haven't. I was getting my hopes up. But point being, yes, the Battlehawks did as expected. It depends on your expectations. They were the favorites to go to the championship And for the second year in a row, they hosted it here. And for the second year in a row, the XFL, the UFL League Championship will be in St. Louis. And not a damn St. Louis team will be in it. You know how frustrating that is? And the thing of it is, if you losing it is one thing. Like, all right, like losing the game sucks. Losing the game the way they did, holy hell. They benched Max Dugan because he was terrible. Brandon Silvers comes in, gives them a little bit of momentum, gets injured. Max Dugan comes in again and kills the momentum. And my friends were saying if Manny Wilkins never got hurt, how could the team have done? Maybe they probably would have done better. I don't know. Maybe they would have. But my thing is, I look at this team, and there was a lot of talent on this team. A very strong defense, number 1 rated in the league. Very solid running game, one of the top running games in the league. Jacob Saylor's shined through and through. And honestly, look, Babs, I'm going to say this much. Even the quarterback play was pretty good this year. Dugan was a great dual threat quarterback until he got afraid to throw the ball. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest salt on the wound from all of this, are you ready? The person that did it was the former quarterback of the Battlehawks, Jordan Ta'amu. The throwing Samoan threw all over us, and it was just a heartbreaking loss. Now, I want to see that here. Here's an interesting take from the good doctor. He says, quote, they will be lucky to have 10,000 people for the title game. The UFL is going under. I'm proud to say I never watched a down of it this season. Okay. 3 things I want to say, something for each sentence. Yes, they will probably be lucky to have 10,000 fans. This was supposed to be a huge playoff game for St. Louis. They had 27,000. Not even the highest sold crowd this year.
Now, was that ticket sold or people actually there? Because I saw the place and it looked
it was empty a lot. There was a lot of empty.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked really kind of empty from the pictures that I saw.
Now, Jeremy said the UFL is going under. I'm going to tell you the truth. Do I want them to go under? No. Do I think they are? Potentially, yes. I think they are because of their own undoing and their lack of marketing. They have, and Jeremy's talking about St. Louis being a football town. To me, it's not even about St. Louis being a football town or not. It's that The Rock doesn't know how to run a football league. He's supposed to be out there marketing this league, and he'll make radio appearances and not talk one damn word about the league. He's out there promoting his shitty Terramana, which might literally be the most disgusting alcohol drink I have ever tasted in my life. I'm just saying it right now. Like, my friends and I have had it, and it is probably the worst thing we've ever tasted. And yes, I get it. It's more than just The Rock, but he is still supposed to be a big figurehead part of it. And I hate using the word clout. I really do. But in this case, I have to. Because who's going to have more pull than The Rock when it comes to marketability? Like, let's be real here. And the UFL, the ratings are good, but they're UFL ratings good. They're not multi-million viewers per game. You get a few 100,000 viewers on certain games. Some you might break a million, 1.5 million. And they're good enough ratings to keep it going, but they're not good enough to keep the league going at this rate. And, you know, I also love the fact that if this is the second year the championship's going to be held in St. Louis and there's not a St. Louis team, because it's just so depressing. Because it showed, look at last year's title game. There was a piss poor crowd. It's probably going to be a piss poor crowd this year too. And it's not St. Louis's fault as far as the city. But you expect 20,000 fans from DC to fly into St. Louis for the UFL championship? You expect 20,000 fans from Detroit to fly in? No. I agree with the good doctor that he said when he says that we'll be lucky to have 10,000 for this game. I don't see it. Like, it was, and let me look for let me look at last year's attendance number for the championship game.
Can I make a hot take really quick?
Go for it.
The XFL, UFL, whatever they call it now, hasn't been the same since COVID. It had such good momentum in 2020, and then COVID hit, and then now it just seems like, I don't know, that it's a watered down version of the product that it was supposed to be, if that makes any sense.
I get that. I mean, I won't even say watered down, because I do enjoy watching it mainly. But my thing is, I love this. Jeremy says, I'd rather fly to Mexico to watch AEW and AEW sucks. That's actually kind of funny.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Okay. I need a second. That's actually really funny. Point being, I look at last year's attendance for the championship game was 27,000 people. The Birmingham Stallions won 25-0. It was the most boring game I've seen. It was an absolute shit. And my friends and I didn't go to the game. We're not going to the game this Saturday. I got a Pro Wrestling Epic show I'm going to be taking part in. I'd rather do that 10 out of 10 over a championship game that a St. Louis team isn't even partaking in. So, no, screw that. And the UFL, I like what you said about the UFL not being the same as COVID. Part
Thanks
of it's
for
because
the PTSD on that, Jeremy.
Oh, hell, I'd rather sit through a bunch of 12-year-old Jey Uso fans eating. Yeah, I see that comment he has. But look at the UFL. You had the XFL. You had the USFL. You had a different league that was called the UFL. You had the AAF. You had all these different little leagues that tried to be that good independent league. So they merged together. Now you have the XFL conference, USFL conference. You have the UFL. But there's still people that just don't give a shit. They just don't, Babs. Now, if you want my opinion, there's rumblings of pushing the season back to early March, the start of the season, which I'm in favor of. Gives people kind of that freshness off of the Super Bowl. And yeah, right now, like the good doctor says, none of these football leagues have survived. None of them have survived. They've had to merge together to survive.
Well, and this is my theory on that, and that's a very good point, because football during the winter, that's basically all you've got. All you've got is hockey and football. But during the spring, you have baseball, you have NASCAR coming back, you have you have hockey is still going. It's an oversaturation, and I think people are more so going to spend their money on the bigger teams rather than going to see, I don't want to say they're peons, but just little guys that are playing arena football. You know what I mean?
Right. I will also say, though, I can dig the this is my
in high school, yeah.
I was high school. Yeah, I love high school football too. The good doctor says he could care less if it's not college or pro. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, He's going to do a shameless plug for his Pacers tonight in the NBA Finals. It's Game 3 at 7:30, so it is almost time for that. We're going to wrap up, but it's Game 3, series tied 1-1. Anyway, point being, I'm looking at the whole thing with the UFL. If they truly go under, if next year is the last year or in 2 years, I won't be surprised because they just never marketed it properly. To me, St. Louisans love football, but if you are putting all your faith in the league in one city, you're screwed. I don't care what that city is. I don't care where that city is. It could have even been Los Angeles. LA didn't care about football.
Okay, well, okay, this is a piggyback question to that. Do you think? Okay, so it looks like all of these teams that are thriving don't really have sports in their cities at all. So why not move some of these football teams to cities that don't have much of anything and give them something to look forward to, and maybe you'll build a fan base naturally like that. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if I don't know.
Well, I get it because but some of these cities, that's what they're already doing. Birmingham. And they've had football there before.
I know that they've got teams in Texas, but my gosh, Texas has 4 teams of everything there. And it's like I said, it's like I said, it's a little bit of oversaturation. And maybe if they moved a team to I don't know, maybe Knoxville or something, or just somewhere with bigger college towns. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't know.
I get it. I get it. But you know what? I really do get that. Memphis was terrible, and exactly. Memphis is probably going to relocate. The team that's in Memphis is probably going to
parking. Holy crap!
I do. Look, say what you want about NIL deals, but it is true. Why would a college kid go to the UFL if he can get good NIL deals? And they want to build up these fan bases, but unless you're in St. Louis, you're just not drawing. You're not drawing crowds. You may get ratings, but you're not getting crowds. And at the end of the day, it's the revenue from showing up to the games and buying tickets that matters. And fans overall in this league are not doing it. And there's no marketability. Because they do, the new draft every year, players come and go. It's just all different things. Like I said, my final point is I just wouldn't be surprised if the league folds in a couple years. It would suck because I do love going to the Battlehawks games. I, love tailgating with my brothers out at the Dome. I love those experiences, but it's just frustrating that has to happen with a league that doesn't know how to take care of themselves.
I agree. And I know this isn't anything to do with football, but if I could kind of piggyback in your frustrations about things, dealing with The Rock. Okay, so they've announced that they're putting Slim Jim logos on the chairs, tables, anything that you can pull out from underneath the ring on WWE because of marketability and stuff. And they're trying to, get more money from sponsors and stuff like that. It's a little bit overboard, and I feel like it's like I posted on social media the other day that I feel like they're going to have Prime logos on the toilet papers in the arenas for these WWE events, because I feel like they're trying to sell products more than they are their own products themselves. I feel like they're not promoting their own wrestlers, and they're trying to, hey, why don't you go get Prime? Or why don't you? Yeah, I know it's all TKO, and I understand, but it's like I said, it's making WWE feel like a shell. I'm just trying to be sold something I don't know, dude wipes. Come on now, bro. I mean,
Well,
you know.
well, remember, it's that movie, and God forbid. You know what? There's two examples I have. Well, I put up three. There might be a third one. You know what? There is three. Number one, Space Jam. The amount of product placement in Space Jam. Number two, the movie Food Fight. The whole thing was a freaking product placement. And number three, it was an animated short film that won an Oscar. It was called Logorama. And all they kept doing was showcase. It was parodying the American, you know, business,
And then
like
the
just how every
title run
product
didn't
is
even
thrown in
last
your
but like
faces.
what, a month? I'm sorry. It's just so frustrating on every single aspect.
Mhm.
It really is.
Yeah, TKO. I like that quote he has here. TKO is a bunch of bloodsuckers. Yeah, they are
That
just.
it's just and it's like I
It,
said, I feel like they're trying to sell us something more than worrying about building what they had before. Because used to be Stone Cold Steve Austin sold WWE, not Slim Jim on a table underneath the ring sold WWE.
Slim Jim 316 says, "I just ooh yeah your ass."
Right, exactly. And
Uh,
I don't know, it just
uh,
feels very gimmicky. And I know that sounds really weird being in the wrestling business and saying something like that, but it does. And it's overkill.
yeah. Well, with that said, folks, we are going to wrap it up here on episode 134. But before we go, Babs, I want you to tell everybody that's been tuning in. We got a great amount of people tuning in live right now. And I want to thank everybody that's tuning in live to the show. But tell us about our newest friends, the newest sponsor of Interstate 70 Sports or Roundabout Sports, and us here at Interstate 70 Sports Media.
Yeah, it's like Jeremy said, a boys dream hobby shop in Caledonia, Missouri, and Interstate 70 Sports Media are teaming up to just get each other better. And I'll be there on the 22nd too. And as it says, Jason Esringhausen and Andy Bennis will be there, and we'll be there to talk to them and say hi and shake hands. And we hope to see you guys down there. And it's like I said, they're trying to get to 10,000 followers by the weekend. So hopefully I'll give you a link to like their Facebook page. And if you go do that for us, that would be awesome. Thank you so very much, guys.
Absolutely. And folks, as we wrap it up, remember, as always, at the bottom of our screen, we put up the NAMI helpline. And for that, you dial 1-800-950-NAMI, 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance of Mental Illness is the largest grassroots mental health organization in the nation dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle with mental health issues. And as always, we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. For that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all struggle every day. There's there's all different trials and tribulations in life that we get through, but they shouldn't have to be faced alone. And all of your feelings and what you're going through are completely valid. And you are just a phone call, a text message, an appointment away from that potentially life-saving moment for you. And you could be the listening ears and watchful eyes for somebody else in need as well. I want to thank, of course, Babs for being my partner in crime. Be sure to tune in next week for episode 135 of Roundabout Sports. And until then, folks, I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody.